Welcome to the August edition of This Month in Payroll. I'm Rowan Geddes, the Australian lead for PwC's payroll consulting practice, and thank you for tuning in again to this vidcast. Two key topics to update you on this month, being a Single Touch Payroll update and also significant activity in relation to leave entitlements as decided by the Fair Work Commission. But first, Single Touch Payroll. We're now 2 months into STP and we're starting to receive feedback from a few employers who have gone live using software that was tested through the early adopter program. And feedback has generally been positive. As expected, there are some teething problems being identified, but these can usually be attributed to a software issue. For example, one employer discovered their system wouldn't allow them to enter 2 payments for an employee on the same day. Where there have been issues found, the consensus is that they have been easily resolved. Also, response time from the ATO is improving, with clients saying their files are validated and accepted within 20 minutes. However, the other consistent message that we've been hearing from employers is the need to do a master data and code review before going live on STP. This is to minimise unnecessary data matching issues. The ATO does not accept symbols like brackets, as in around phone numbers, signs from international mobiles, or dashes. The spaces are okay. We received a report from one client who had received an 80-page long error PDF report from the ATO, advising all of the rejections due to symbols. So, master data and code review is essential leading into STP Go Live. Earlier this month, the ATO issued its long-awaited position paper, providing guidance to employers on how foreign employees will be treated under STP, as well as providing a series of exemptions. At PwC, we have received many inquiries over the past year about how foreign employees will be treated under STP, particularly where those employees are paid offshore or covered under a shadow payroll arrangement. A shadow payroll arrangement is an arrangement set up to allow Australian PAYG to be remitted for an employee who is paid on an offshore payroll. Effectively, the payroll is run offshore in the normal manner, allowing the foreign employee to be paid, and is then rerun as a shadow payroll in Australia, specifically so that PAYG remittances and superannuation guarantee can be submitted to the tax office. The interaction of shadow payrolls and STP was an area of concern, because there were often delays in employers obtaining the necessary information from the foreign payroll to process an Australian shadow payroll on a timely basis. Given the real-time reporting nature of STP, these delays could create mismatches in payment and reporting, and to manage these delays, a range of options were considered, including extensions of time and exemptions. The ATO, in its release, has now confirmed that it will provide an exemption from STP reporting for foreign employees, although only if they meet all of the following conditions. 1. The employee must be employed by an offshore entity. 2. The employee must be present in Australia on a secondment. 3. All or part of the employee's base salary and other remuneration must be paid by an offshore entity. And 4. The employer must maintain a shadow payroll arrangement for the employee and internal tax equalisation or tax protection policies. There is no application process to receive the exemption. It is managed on a self-assessment basis. However, as per the ATO guidance, if an employer decides that they are able to make use of this exemption, they should keep records to support their decision. We note that foreign employers who pay their employees from the overseas payroll without running a shadow payroll do not receive the benefit of the exemption. And finally, we also remind employers that the STP exemption does not negate the requirement to continue to withhold tax on an ongoing basis. It is purely an exemption from the STP rules. The ATO has provided a range of further STP exemptions for other areas of concern. The first is for employers who only rise above the STP threshold of 20 due to employing casual workers for a short time, such as long weekends or seasonal workers. Secondly, when insolvency practitioners take over management of a business, they can choose not to follow STP reporting for that business. Thirdly, administrators of long service leave or redundancy schemes who don't use STP-enabled software to manage payments to their members can be exempt from STP reporting. And fourthly, employers who operate under a withholder payer number, WPN, rather than an ABN, because they don't run a business. For example, people that employ disability support staff funded by the NDIS are exempt from STP. In addition to these exemptions, the ATO has indicated that they will consider further reporting relief and will publish additional information once it becomes available. Leave certainly got a good run this month from the Fair Work Commission. There were 2 significant cases handed down. In the first case, the Fair Work Commission handed down a decision in a dispute between the Australian Workers' Union and AstraZeneca about how AstraZeneca was accruing and deducting personal or carers leave for employees undertaking shift work. This decision could have a significant impact to the standard practice that many employers follow when providing personal and carers leave to shift workers. Full-time employees are entitled to 10 days' worth of personal or carers leave, sick leave, per year. Where an employee works a 38-hour week, 10 days equates to 76 hours of paid leave. 10 days personal leave times the average 7.6-hour workday. However, in the AstraZeneca dispute, the question was posed, what if a workday is longer than 7.6 hours? In the AstraZeneca dispute, the AWU argued that shift workers worked a 12-hour day rather than a 7.6-hour day, and so the employee's day of personal leave should equate to 12 hours. This would mean the total annual sick leave for shift workers would accrue to 120 hours, 10 days times an average workday of 12 hours, rather than 76. The Fair Work Commission found for the AWU and confirmed that a day should be viewed as the ordinary hours that an employee would have worked on that day, finding that there is no support for the proposition that payment is based on an average number of hours worked. Approximately 16% of Australian employees are shift workers, and many other employees work non-standard shifts. So this ruling has significant ramifications for business groups and employers. The AWU has suggested that thousands of Australians could be eligible for millions of dollars in back pay. However, there is a flip side as well. Employees working short shifts would use a day of their accrual, even if their rostered shift was only, say, 4 hours. Further, the implications could extend beyond personal and carers leave to other types of leave, including annual leave and long service leave. For example, legally, annual leave is accrued in terms of weeks, and long service leave is accrued in terms of months. However, payroll systems manage these calculations of leave in terms of hours. So what happens next? Well, there are several responses to this in play at the moment, which indicate that employers should adopt a wait-and-see approach before rethinking their entire leave liabilities. First of all, AstraZeneca has appealed the Fair Work Commission decision. Secondly, separate to the AstraZeneca decision, a hearing is scheduled before the Federal Court for September 6th to determine whether a manufacturer, Mondelez, can argue their case around personal/carers leave being provided to shift workers in front of the full bench. If successful, the Mondelez case would effectively overturn the decision made by the Commission. And finally, the previous Small Business Minister, Craig Laundy, also intervened, seeking a full bench decision of the Mondelez agreement, recognising as well the importance and the implications of this decision. Another case development this month was an appeal decision handed down by the full Federal Court in the case of WorkPack versus Scheme. Like the AstraZeneca decision, this case has the potential for significant impact on businesses, this time for those that rely on a casualised workforce. The issue under question in WorkPack versus Scheme was whether an employee who is engaged as a casual should be treated as a permanent employee entitled to annual leave. In this case, the casual worker had been working regular, predictable hours, typically 12-hour shifts on a 7-day on, 7-day off roster for over 12 months. In the appeal, the full bench held that what typifies casual employment was the absence of a firm advance commitment as to the duration of the employee's employment or the days the employee will work. In the decision, the full Federal Court talked of the essence of casualness, finding that it consisted of irregular work patterns, uncertainty, discontinuity, intermittence of work, and unpredictability. Further, the full bench noted that the payment of a casual loading is only one factor in determining whether the employee is casual. If the pattern actually worked reveals an ongoing employment relationship rather than a casual one, the employee may be entitled to be treated as an ongoing employee. And, to add insult to injury, the payment of a casual loading during the tenure of the employee's casual employment could not necessarily be used to offset the obligation to back pay leave entitlements. It is estimated that 25% of Australia's workforce is casual, and some 40% of those casual employees have held their role for more than 12 months. Given this decision, it is well worth considering and identifying whether you may have employees that started out as casuals, but by virtue of their working regular, predictable hours, could well be deemed to be permanent employees with annual leave and other entitlements. In the meantime, however, we will watch this space to see whether the decision will be appealed to the High Court. While on the topic of leave, a reminder that most employees covered by an industry or occupation award can now take unpaid leave to deal with family and domestic violence. From the 1st of August 2018, employees on modern awards can take up to 5 days of unpaid leave each year to deal with family and domestic violence. The leave is available in full at the commencement of each 12-month period, does not accumulate from year to year, is available for casual employees, and is available in full to part-time and casual employees, that is, unlike personal and annual leave, it is not prorated for part-time employees. In addition, the changes to the award require employers to take steps to ensure information provided by the employees relating to the leave is treated confidentially as far as is reasonably practical to do so. Employers should start planning for the insertion of compulsory unpaid family and domestic violence leave in modern awards. Finally, on the topic of thought sharing and networking, I would like to remind everyone that we are coming into conference season, with Australian Payroll Association's conference being held in Melbourne on 25th of October and the Association for Payroll Specialists conference being held in Sydney on the 1st and 2nd of November. Both of these conferences offer another opportunity for payroll specialists to catch up on the latest in payroll as well as to meet like-minded peers. Networking is an important part to raising the potential of payroll, and so we encourage payroll specialists to attend one of these events. I'll have new payroll updates next month, but in the meantime, if you have any payroll questions, you can find information on our website, pwc.com.au/payroll, or email me at rowan.geddes@pwc.com, or message me via LinkedIn. In the meantime, have a great month.